Hello everybody, Eric Miller with KDC Martial Arts here, along with Zander. We're going to demonstrate some principles from stand-up grappling. Stand-up grappling is where we're in a standing position with another person. We're trying to use leverage to knock that person down, knock them over. Stand-up grappling can involve a lot of things, throws, trips, things of that nature. So what we're going to talk about today, though, specifically is what we call the big circle, small circle principle. What does this mean? Well, this means that when we are applying a small circle in a hold, we need to use a big circle with our feet in order to complete the action that turns it into a takedown. So the first thing we're going to show you is what's called the two-finger wrist lock. This is a very small circle. It's a wrist lock, so it's attacking a small joint in that person, and this allows the attacker, if you can manage to get this wrist lock, a lot of control. Okay, so this is the principle of the two-finger wrist lock. It's called that because theoretically I could do it with two fingers. So I'm going to use my middle finger and my thumb. I'm going to put my middle finger here on the inside bottom part of his thumb, and I'm going to put my thumb right here below the knuckle on the pinky. At this point here, with these 2 points of pressure, I can twist into a wrist lock position, right? The truth of the matter is, in any real fight situation, you don't want to rely on grabbing someone with 2 fingers. That's just not reliable. Quick action, he moves his hand, you slip out of your grip, doesn't really work. So what you would do is take the same concept, but you would really apply 2 hands to it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grip those 2 hands again. I'm getting pressure on the lower part, heel of his hand with these fingers here, and I'm getting pressure on the back of his hand with my thumbs, okay? What this is doing is allowing me to then go to that same motion of twist and turn it into that same wrist lock position. So in this position here, my objective is to take these fingers and point them in a curve down towards the floor. As I do this, it's hopefully going to make his body react in this off-balance position. This allows me a chance to take him to the ground simply with this level of control, okay? However, if I stay stationary and I just try to apply force in doing this and he resists hard in that force, I don't really get anywhere. If I'm bigger and stronger than him, I'm going to eventually win that contest. But until I win that contest, I could be in trouble, because while I'm struggling to get this to work, I've got 2 hands committed to this one hand. He's got a free hand. He can sit there and start throwing punches. And at this point, how am I going to pull this off? If he's resisting, so I want to force him to move a little bit so that when he resists, my movement will cause him to move as well. This is a very small circle, right? I'm trying to do this very small circle. My hands are coming in with this very tight grip. I'm trying to create this small circle, this wrist lock. His elbows in, his body, it's a tight circle, right? If I step small when I do this, he can just walk with me. So as I go like this, I step really small, he'll just dance around in this position, and that'll give him time to try to resist. So the bigger circle with my feet, when I do this, once I have this position, is I'm gonna take this foot, I'm gonna step in, I'm gonna take this foot, and I'm gonna step back big, like this. As I'm doing this, I'm gonna turn my body this way, right? I sometimes refer to this as the Aikido waltz, because the first time I saw this stepping pattern was actually in an Aikido class many years ago. Shout out to my friend Jason Murray for that. And so this type of stepping pattern can be very useful for applying that big circle, small circle principle. So if I've got the wrist and I've got this control, I step forward first here. That creates a little bit of an extra bend in his arm. So instead of being straight out here, I step in, okay? I don't want to get punched, so what I do is I step out, okay? And then as I do, I'm gonna turn this around, and then I'm gonna turn my body this way, okay? And that's gonna off-balance him and force him down to the ground, okay? So, all right, so the next thing that people will often ask is, how do I get to it? Obviously, people aren't just gonna go like this and give you their hand to grab, right? So it could be a number of situations, but the first one that we kind of practice is to just parry a punch that's thrown at you. So if he throws that punch at and I parry in this direction, what I wanna do is come over the top and and grab, right? Once I have this position, I can come back over and then I can go right into the wrist lock and knock him down, right? So again, if we're on this side, right, and he does this, he throws a punch, I parry and grab and get the control, okay? This also puts me in a safe place against him throwing a punch from the other side because he's got to go cross body. It's really hard for him to get a decent punch here. Then I'm going to come back over quickly, like this, again, pushing down, step, step, and there's my takedown.